So Brother Sagi's advice on that is if you're mouthing the words, you're moving the lips, then it helps you to focus in the prayer, and that's a good thing, inshallah. Whereas if you are completely silent, you might lose distraction. Okay, brother. The most common way is Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Can it be shorter than that? Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum. Can it be longer than that? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I've heard the longer way, but I haven't heard the shorter way. But I don't know whether the shorter way is permitted or not. Okay, so we'll get back to you on the answer to that. But by far the most common way, and you see this almost everywhere, is that it's Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Okay, so the question is, if you're reading a very long surah, is there a certain point that you can stop, or do you have to complete the whole surah? So certainly you don't have to complete the whole surah. I mean, some surahs are extremely long. Surah al-Baqarah is a very long surah. I mean, that's going to take you an hour to read that. So you don't have to complete a whole surah. You can do a few ayahs, a few verses of the Quran without having to complete a full one. Generally speaking, one should try to stop at a position where, based on the meaning of the verses, it's a good position to stop, rather than stopping in the middle of a set of verses that leave something unfinished. So there are certain places in the Quran, for example, where we have a term that's called ruku. This is a good place to stop. Because it's completing a section, but is that required, or can you stop at a position other than at the end of a ruku? It is permitted to stop at a position other than the end of a ruku, but generally one should try to complete a section where possible. Okay, so the question is, when a husband and a wife are praying together, can the husband lead the wife in the sunnah prayer? Okay, so certainly in the farad prayer, the answer is yes, and this should be done. It is always best to pray in congregation when you can, and the minimum for a congregation is 2 people. So that can be a husband and a wife. The wife should pray behind the husband, not next to. She should be behind. Women should always be behind the men. But this question was specifically, what about in the sunnah prayers? Can a husband and wife pray together? Generally speaking, the sunnah prayers are read individually. Okay, so if you are reading the sunnah prayer of Zohar, like we just prayed, you pray those sunnah prayers individually. When men go to the masjid, we don't pray the sunnah prayers in congregation. We read them individually. So the same would apply for the husband and the wife. The sunnah prayers are read individually, and the farad prayers are read together. But can they be read together? Is there any prohibition of them being read together? I don't know the answer to that. Okay, so we don't know whether it's not allowed, but it's generally not done. I mean, the sunnah prayers are read individually. Okay, so the question is, after the Isha prayer, one prays 2 rakat sunnah. If the husband asks the wife to pray 4 rakat sunnah, should the wife obey? Yeah, that is the question. So the 2 rakat sunnah after Isha are the sunnah mokida, which are the ones that the Prophet ﷺ was extremely vigilant in doing. He would never miss these prayers except in travel. So those 2 rakat sunnah you should do it's not a sin if you don't do them, but one is very much encouraged to do these sunnah prayers. These are the most important sunnah prayers. But what about doing 4? So I'm not sure whether there's certain schools of fiqh where they do 4. Yes, so just try and clarify this, just to make sure everybody hears the same message. So the correct procedure is after the Isha Salah, the 4 rakat farad of Isha, one prays 2 rakat sunnah. Okay? One is allowed to pray as many nafil as they want after that. The nafil are the optional prayers. So if you want to do 2 rakat nafil, 4 rakat nafil, on top of that, that is fine. Okay? But nobody has the right to impose that on you. Okay? And the night should be ended with witr prayer. Okay? This is an odd number of salah. It can be 1, 3, 5, 7, however many you want to do. It's an odd number. And you can do that immediately after the sunnah of Isha. You can do it later in the night. Either way is fine. But these prayers of witr should be offered before the time of Fajr begins. So if you're in a situation where your husband is asking you to... Why does the wife need to pray behind the husband? Okay, so women always have to pray behind the men. It's not just the husband and the wife. If you go to a masjid, then the women will always pray behind. The reason why women pray behind the men is to prevent the man's attention from gazing at the women. If the women are behind, then one is not going to be distracted by gazing at the women. Women should be behind. Yeah. The correct procedure, if you are in a congregational prayer and the imam makes a mistake, what is the procedure for drawing attention to the imam that a mistake has been made? If the person is a man that spots that mistake, then one says Subhanallah. Okay? For example, if the imam is standing up for a 4th unit of prayer during Maghrib, and we know Maghrib is 3 units of prayer, he's standing up for the 4th, then as he's standing up we say Subhanallah to draw attention to the imam that he's going into the 4th prayer when he shouldn't, 4th unit when he shouldn't. If a woman notices a mistake, then she doesn't say Subhanallah, but instead she just goes, she taps. Like that. It's not like that, okay? It's a tap, okay? So it's not a clapping, it's like this. Yeah. For certain mistakes, it is permitted to do what is termed sajda sahu, which is the sajda of forgetfulness, or the prostration of forgetfulness. There are certain conditions for that, and I prefer to come to that topic in a subsequent session. This is a topic that we're planning to cover. When do you do sajda sahu? When can you not do sajda sahu? And we'll come to that, inshallah.
I was trying to say, does she mean for me to stand up and bow down twice, or for me to get down?
The procedure for sajda sahu is before you do there's actually 2 procedures. There's 2 ways of doing this, but it's right at the end of the prayer, the timing of the salam. You would do 2 additional prostrations. Okay. But we'll cover the details of the technique by which we do this, under what conditions we can do sajda sahu. We will cover that. Anything else? Okay. With that we'll conclude, inshallah. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر